like, it's positive, and I was like, what the fuck?
You were such a star, and you know that you are.
So basically, this video is, I'm gonna tell y'all how I found out I was pregnant and how my mom found out because I didn't tell her. She found out by herself, so let's get into the video. I feel so lightheaded, like, I don't know, like, I'm sitting down, but I feel like I can't breathe. I don't know what's wrong. This has been going on since today, this morning, actually. Anyways, it was December. I had conceived in November 13th, I conceived. That's whenever I got pregnant. Not the same day I had sex and I got pregnant, but I had sex like a couple days before that date, and then that day is whenever the baby like implanted in my whatever, I don't know, and I became pregnant. So about a month later, I started feeling symptoms. I was feeling nausea, and I was tired, and I was vomiting, and I missed my period, so I was like, girl, you're pregnant. But I never really like wanted to believe it. It was just like, you know, like there's other reasons why I'm feeling this way, so I didn't want to believe it, even though, you know, obviously you're freaking pregnant. But December 25th, we were all supposed to go to Kerrville, and I was living in San Antonio at the time, so Kerrville to San Antonio is about like an hour and like a 15-minute drive or so, I think. Not too sure. Maybe like an hour and 40-minute drive. Or maybe not even an hour. I don't even know. But they were going to Kerrville to my tios, and they were going to celebrate Christmas there, but basically I asked my mom if I could stay home because I wasn't feeling good, and she was like, okay. And I don't think she suspected anything. Like, I don't think, like, she was like, oh, she's pregnant. But, I mean, maybe, I don't know, because, okay, but maybe, I don't know. So basically, she, like, let me stay home, and I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, you know, like, okay, this is, like, the time to find out. I had $15. I don't remember where I got them from. I think I just had them from whenever, like, Ishmael gave me money, because he would like give me money sometimes to like buy something to eat or something. And so basically I had $15, and I walked, okay, so where we used to live in San Antonio, there was a Walgreens and a CVS on each end of the house, so like basically I could just like walk to whichever one, but CVS was the closest one. So I walked to CVS, and it took me like forever. Well, it felt like forever, but I walked to CVS, I went in there, and I was looking at the pregnancy test, and basically there's one that had 2 of them in it, and it was like 15 something, and I was like, oh, well, I can't get that one because, you know, I only have $15. So I got one that cost like 12 something, and that one only had 1 in it. I got that one, and I walked back to the house. I remember they put it in like this brown bag, and like I hid the bag inside of my sweater because I didn't want anybody to see it, because around there like a lot of people like knew my stepdad, and I didn't want them to like, you know, like see me, and then like one day they see me with like my stepdad, and they're like, hey, I remember that girl, she was carrying a pregnancy test. So I didn't want that to happen, so I hid my pregnancy test inside my sweater, and I walked home. And well, when I got home, I was so scared. Like, it's just like, damn, like I'm really taking a pregnancy test. So I remember I walked in the restroom, and I put the pregnancy, it was still inside its box, I put the pregnancy test on this like shelf thing that we had. I put it in there, I went back to my room, and I basically like cried. Like, I cried forever, and I didn't take the pregnancy test for maybe like 3 hours later. I took it. Yeah, it was like about 3 hours that I took it, that I waited. And finally, whenever I took it, I like messed it up. I accidentally like peed like literally like all over the stick, and I was like, fuck, like I just like fucked this up. And so I set it down on the black thing again, and I went to the couch, and I was like screaming inside the pillows, and I was like screaming, and then I started crying some more, and I was like, fuck, dude, like I just like fucked up my chance of finding out if I was pregnant or not. And well, finally, like I went back in the restroom like 10 minutes later. I know, maybe it was like a little bit less, it was like 5 minutes later. I went back in there and I looked at the test and it said positive, and I was like, what? It was positive, and I was just like, holy shit, like, the bitch is positive. And it was a faint line, but I mean, you could tell that it was still positive, just still, like, I wasn't, like, trying to believe it, and I was like, you know what, like, I peed all over the stick, like, it's probably, like, messed up, so I didn't, like, believe it or anything. I was just like, oh, it's probably, like, messed up, so I didn't, like, really say anything about it, but I do remember I told, I was just, like, in so much shock that I was like, you know, like, what the hell, so I texted my, I call her, like, my sister, because, like, well, I just call her my sister. Her name's Jasmine. I remember I texted her and I showed her it, and I was just like, dude, like, I'm pregnant. And it was just like so crazy, like so many emotions were going through me, and like, wow, like I'm pregnant. And I remember like I kind of like kept it to myself. I didn't really say anything about it. I just, like, you know, was like, you know, it's probably like not even true. And then eventually I started throwing up even more, and then I remember I had went to a dentist appointment, and they were taking x-rays of my teeth, and if you're pregnant, you're not supposed to be like near x-rays or even be getting x-rays done on you. So, and if that did happen to you without any like that protection, that little thing that they put on you, then you could basically your baby will like go like something will happen to them, and it'll make them like slow, like they can like, I don't even know, I don't want to say what it is or what it isn't, but I know you're not supposed to be getting x-rays whenever you're pregnant. That's why some places where you're getting x-rays, they ask you, you know, could you be pregnant or are you pregnant? So I didn't know that. And I remember one day my mom was coming to pick up me and my brother from school because we had another dentist appointment to finally get the procedure done in our like mouth. And well, on the way home, like, okay, at school, I never really ate at school because I always threw up, and I didn't like throwing up at school because it was just like really embarrassing. Sometimes I couldn't even make it to the restroom, but well, I didn't throw up after because I had ate a pizza, and I was like, wow, like I didn't throw up. But nope, I threw up that same day. I was in the car on the way home to go change, and I threw up, and like I didn't even know I was gonna throw up. Like if I did know, then I would have like said something so that my mom could stop and I could throw up like in a cup or in like outside or something. But I didn't know. Like I was literally like sitting in the car, and like the fucking throw up just came out like out of my mouth, and like I was just like, what the hell, like. And I was just like so scared because my mom was like right next to me, and she was like, you're pregnant. She was like, you're fucking pregnant, Marie. And she just like started laughing, but she wasn't laughing because she thought that I was laughing. She was laughing because of like how mad she was. She was basically laughing because of like how mad she was. I feel like that looks got darker. Well, basically, she started laughing because of, like, how mad she was, and she's just like, you're fucking pregnant. She was like, I'm making you an appointment, and you're going to get checked. And I was scared. I was so scared. And, like, even before that, like, my mom was, like, this was in January whenever she had made me do that. She was basically, like, it was just, like, so scary. Like, I didn't know like what to expect. I thought my mom was gonna fucking beat the shit out of me. Like, I know she wanted to, but she didn't. And basically, how I found out, well, how I kind of found out was through a pregnancy test that I messed up on. And then how I really found out was at a clinic whenever my mom had made me the appointment. So basically, she was like, do you have an ID or like a school ID? And I was like, no, but I can get one. She was like, okay, well, I need you to get one because you can't go unless you have some sort of identification. And I was like, okay. So that was like on a Saturday that she told me that. Well, no, it was Friday. And she told me that Saturday after she had made the appointment. And so I had till Thursday to get that thing, and I didn't get it till like that same day, Thursday. And then after school, like, my mom didn't like really talk to me. She was just like, you know, like, she was like super quiet, and she just like kind of looked like really mad and pissed. So I really didn't like want to talk to her because I didn't want her to like, I don't know, like yell at me. I don't know. My mom was kind of scary. So basically we got there and we walked in and they made me like sign like a bunch of like information, and then finally they took me to the back and they were like, we need you to pee in this cup. And I was like, okay. And I kind of stalled for a minute because I was just like super scared. Like, I already knew it was going to come back positive. But basically they put me in a different room. My mom was still in the waiting room, and I was in the room filling out this other paper about like abortion and what I want to do if I do find out I'm pregnant and all of this stuff. And well, the lady came back in the room and she asked me, she was like, do you want me to bring your mom or do you want to hear the news first? And I was like, I like want to hear it by myself. She was like, okay. She's like, that's totally fine, you know, like we can do that. Okay, so like I was just like sitting down and I was like looking down at like my feet because like I was just like super scared and like I was already wanting to cry. And well, like as soon as I started to look up, because like she wasn't saying anything, she was just like, it's positive. And I was like, what the fuck? It was definitely like a scary, like I never knew how scary that could be. Like, so many mixed emotions were going through me, and like I just cried. I cried, and it was just like I wanted to laugh, and then I wanted to cry more. I tried to hold it all in, and then finally she was just like, do you want to call your mom now? And I was like, yeah. So they brought my mom back, and they're like, do you want to tell her? And I was like, no. I was like, I don't want to tell her. I was just like scared. Like, I thought she was gonna like freaking like reach over to me and like slap the shit out of me. Like, I was so scared. Like, I was super scared. So basically they were just like, so she did her urine test did come back positive. We tested it 2 times just to make sure, and it came back positive. And my mom just like started crying, and that's what made me cry. Even though I was trying to hold it in, it made me cry so bad. It was just like one crazy day. Like, I felt super bad because like I felt like I like let my mom down, you know? Like, she was a teen mom. She didn't get to finish high school. She had to drop out so that she can work to support us, and you know, like, being a teen mom isn't easy, you know? There's never a point where teen pregnancy is going to be easy for you. You know, like, you still have like all of this weight on you. You have to, you know, watch an infant, and you're still a child yourself. You know, like, it wasn't something that I was necessarily proud of. I was just like, wow, like, this actually happened. And even though I knew that I was having unprotected sex, I just didn't think it would happen to me. And I know a lot of teen parents say that. They're like, oh, you know, like, I didn't expect that to happen to me. Well, it did, you know. And now you're stuck with a baby that you had to watch. Nobody else. You have to watch it, you know. And, you know, like, it was just, like, one crazy day. Like, it was super emotional for us. Basically, we went back home, and, she told my grandma, and I just, like, went to my room, and I was just, like, laying there on the bed, and I was just, like, sitting there with, like, my paperwork, and then I, like, maybe, like, an hour later, it was, like, around 8 o'clock, I think, I had, like, posted it on my Snapchat, and I just had, like, everybody texting me, and blah, 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 but it was super crazy. And then I, like, before I had posted it on Snapchat, like, I just went to my brother, and I texted him, and I was like, I am 8 weeks pregnant. Like, I just said it, like, straight like that, because, like, I just had to get straight to the point, you know? And I was just like, I'm 8 weeks pregnant, and he was like, Jay, what the fuck? And I was like, but now everybody is super happy, you know? I thought my mom was gonna hate me forever, but she doesn't. She was super supportive throughout my pregnancy. She did so much for me throughout my pregnancy. She threw me a baby shower, and whenever I craved something, she made sure that I got whatever it was that I craved, and I'm super blessed to have my mom in my life, because I know there's not a lot of teen parents where their parents are very nice about it. I know some teen parents get kicked out over it, and why does this keep on going dark? And I know a lot of us don't have it that way, and I'm just, you know, super blessed that my mom was the way she was, and I'm just super glad that she was supportive of me. And well, basically that's how I found out I was pregnant.
You the one that I want in my life, yeah. You the one that I want every night, yeah. You the one that I want on my side, yeah. Promise for you I'll ride. I need you to be there for me.